I'm Dr. Austin Stapleton. I'm board certified in occupational medicine, a certified independent medical examiner, and I've spent years helping injured workers protect their health and their life. Today's topic is one of the most important in this entire series. What do you do immediately after a work injury? The steps you take early on can mean the difference between a smooth recovery and a denied claim that leaves you stuck with bills. I've seen far too many cases denied or delayed simply because workers didn't know what to do. And let me tell you, insurance companies count on that confusion. If you don't act quickly or document things correctly, they have an easier time saying this wasn't work-related. Step 1, you must acknowledge that something is wrong. You'd be surprised how many workers ignore early pain. They think it's just soreness, I'll shake it off. Or worse, they worry about looking weak, about being seen as the complainer. Here's a real example. I had a patient, a warehouse worker, who ignored tingling and numbness in his hands for a week. He assumed it was just fatigue. By the time he came to me, he had advanced carpal tunnel that required surgery. Had he spoken up sooner, we may have prevented surgery entirely. Ignoring symptoms doesn't protect your job. It actually puts your ability to work long-term at risk. The faster we address, the better your chances of recovery. So, many factors. What if the pain is mild? If it doesn't interfere with your work and improves with rest, then monitor it. But if it persists or worsens, don't wait, take action. What if I'm worried about losing my job? Reporting an injury is your legal right. Documenting early can actually protect you from losing benefits later. Step 2, report it, even if it feels minor. This is a huge mistake I see every single week. Workers wait too long to report their injury. Maybe it's because they think, I don't want to make waves, or I don't want my boss to think I'm lazy. It's probably nothing. I'll wait and see. But here's the problem. If you don't report it, it's like it never happened. So, pro tip, you don't have to report every minor ache, but if it's affecting your ability to do your job or it's not going away, create a written record. Even something as simple as filling out the incident report with your supervisor can make a world of difference later. And be careful who you listen to. I've heard workers say, my coworker told me not to report it or I'd get in trouble. But your coworker isn't going to be there when your claim gets denied. Mini fact, how soon do I have to report an injury? Ideally, within 24 hours. But even if some time has passed, report it as soon as you realize it's serious. What if my boss says not to report it? That's illegal in most states. Document what happened and who told you not to report it. Step 3, seek medical care and get a real diagnosis. Don't just grab a bottle of ibuprofen and hope for the best. You need to know exactly what's going on. Is it a sprain, a torn ligament, a herniated disc, carpal tunnel? Getting a proper evaluation is the foundation of your claim. No diagnosis means no medical evidence. And without evidence, your claim will be weak, no matter how real your pain is. Important note for Missouri and Kansas. In both Missouri and Kansas, you don't get to choose your own doctor for a work-related injury. The employer or a workers' comp insurance company picks the authorized treating physician. If you want a second opinion or to see your own doctor, you usually need approval from the insurance company, and they don't always make it easy. That's why it's critical to make sure the first doctor clearly documents how your injury is connected to your job. Back to the mini fact. Can I still see my family doctor? You can, but workers' comp might not pay for it unless it's authorized. Sometimes a second opinion is approved, but you must request it. What if the company doctor isn't taking me seriously? Then document everything. Ask questions. If needed, an attorney can help you get a second opinion approved. Step 4, ask your doctor to connect the dots. A diagnosis like shoulder strain isn't enough by itself. Insurance adjusters need to see how your job caused or contributed to the injury. For example, instead of just saying, this patient has rotator cuff tendonitis, we would say something like, this patient has rotator cuff tendonitis from repeatedly lifting 25-pound auto parts overhead with arms fully extended up to 400 times per shift for the past 6 years at General Motors. That level of detail, the weight, the overhead motion, the arm position, the repetition, and the years on the job paints a crystal clear picture. Here's a real-world example that I've anonymized. I once treated an older worker that had been at a manufacturing plant for over 10 years. Every day, he lifted heavy metal components, 30 pounds or more, with his arms fully extended overhead, hundreds of times per shift. When he finally came to me, he had a severe rotator cuff tear. The first doctor he saw just wrote, shoulder pain, possible strain, nothing about his repetitive overhead lifting. To make matters worse, the insurance company pointed to his underlying arthritis and said, this isn't from work, it's just age-related. If we hadn't carefully connected the dots, explaining how his job duties aggravated and worsened his shoulder condition despite the arthritis, his claim would have been denied. By documenting the weight of the parts, the extended arm position, the number of lifts per shift, and his years on the job, we built a case they couldn't argue with. That's what finally got his claim accepted. Mini fact, what if I already had arthritis? If your job aggravated or accelerated it, that's still compensable. What should I tell my doctor? Be specific. Describe the tasks, weights, and frequency, not just I lift things. And finally, step 5, understand what else might be going on. Here's something nobody tells workers. occurs. You can have multiple causes for pains, and that's okay. Mini fact again. What if my MRI shows degeneration? Degeneration doesn't disprove a work injury. Many claims are accepted when work aggravates an existing condition. So how do I prove my job made it worse? Clear, detailed medical documentation from a knowledgeable doctor is the key. So let's recap the 5 steps. Acknowledge something is wrong. Report it as soon as it becomes serious. Seek medical care and get a clear diagnosis. Have your doctor connect the dots to your job and understand other conditions that might complicate your case. Doing these things early will protect you if your case ever gets challenged. And trust me, many claims do get challenged. In upcoming videos, we're going to break down specific injuries like shoulder tear, carpal tunnel, low back injuries, knee degeneration, and the difference between acute injuries and cumulative trauma. We also talk about how insurance companies use gaps in your story to deny claims and how to avoid that trap. If you have any questions, please add them in the comments and I'll get to them if I can. Thank you so much.